These, we're not gonna put like the whole spiel on there. We're just gonna kind of like pick and pull from your answers and stuff, and we're gonna just try to make it funny, like, you know. And so yeah, so feel free to answer whatever way you want. It's not gonna be the full thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I look at you or the camera?
I don't know. What do you think? Me. Look at me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I had a specific idea of what I wanted in a woman. That wasn't just go to a bar and find someone. And when, you know, I looked at all the other dating sites, and it seemed to be the most, I don't know, comprehensive, the best put together. And, you know, one of the things that I wanted was kind of a girl who wasn't just, you know, somebody I could have fun with, but somebody I could also know what religious base they were, and that was one of the ones that was on there. And so one of my things was she had to be Christian, and I guess that was the biggest reason.
I think the reason why I joined Match is because of not being able to find a partner in town, or like be able to find anybody that was here that I really made my heart skip a beat, I guess. And it was just to get out a little bit, just because I know a lot of Coeur d'Alene.
Tons of things, but, you know, I really wanted somebody who was, you know, fun, but had their own career path, kind of had their life put together, that wasn't, you know, somebody I had to take care of in a way. You know, like, I love to take care of people, but I didn't want to have to take care of her financially. Basically, I was looking for somebody who wasn't working at Burger King.
Right.
You know?
It's a tall order to fill.
Yeah. Around here it is.
What?
Oh, I was looking for a man who respected me, and a man who was driven and could deal with my also driven personality, and someone who wanted to have fun with me. And I think what I was really looking for then, now that I have it, it's weird, but what I was looking for then, someone who was confident, that made me laugh, that was yeah, being on the spot for sure. I don't know, I just was looking for somebody who just made me be a better person.
She just fit. So, you know, I obviously knew who the Corcorans were, and I knew who she was from back in the day when I was a realtor. So I'd never met her, but she just seemed like kind of a fun, like, loved life type of person. And seeing the pictures and her kind of her lifestyle was what I guess drew me towards her. And then chatting with her there and on the phone was kind of, you know, the aha moment. You know, that's who I would love to go hang out with, have a beer with, you know, almost, I don't know, just seemed to be a really good fit, both, you know, as a Match.com thing, but also as somebody who I'd like to, you know, hang out with more.
Oh, wow.
Holy cow, I know who he is. That's okay.
You did?
Yeah.
You knew him?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Because when I was working at the bank, I was chasing after his business, but I didn't necessarily know him, his face. He wrote in his profile, owner of Alligator Performance. So I was like, I know exactly this. Because I remember looking at, he was in the Business Journal. I remember it was him and Jamie in the Business Journal. And I saw both of them on the, the thing, on the, whatever, the printout. And I was like, oh, what a cute family. They're so cute together. And so I remember when he wrote it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the guy. And so I didn't really know it was him. I didn't know who he was, but...
I think I contacted her for sure. I think that's how it kind of worked, but that's been 2.5 years ago. So. But I think I left her a message or something, or, you know, looking around, I know that was pretty, like, the first contact.
What?
He contacted me.
Do you remember that?
Yes. I remember I jumped on the site, and I was, like, totally done with Match.com, 100%. I was not, like, into it at all, and I just jumped on for, like, a kind of just, like, over failed relationships, and I'm like, well, just jump on and just see what it's, you know, what's, if there's any search, basically. And then and I was on for like an hour, and then all of a sudden I got a message from him.
You remember what it said?
I remember he was pretty, like, open about what he was about, and then he, like, main thing for him was, like, being a Christian. And I remember that, saying being a Christian, and I remember him saying, like, wanting to have lunch, like, really soon. And I was like, okay, let's do it.
Just, she was strikingly beautiful. She's obviously a really beautiful woman, and but beyond that, just her demeanor when she, you know, when we sat down and she was already sitting at the bar and at Whispers when we met, and she was just so easy to talk to, so easy to get to know as a person, just right off the bat. You know, you didn't feel like you were, or didn't feel like you were missing anything, like she wasn't hiding anything. And that's what I really loved about her, you know, right off the bat, was just so easy to, you know, have a conversation, and we had a lot of stuff in common, and we're both entrepreneurs, so that makes it really, you know, kind of a really easy connect, so we kind of understand the way each other works, and I don't know, we just had a great time.
When I first saw him, I remember him walking up, and he had something in his hand, and I was wondering what it was, and I remember we joked back and forth about a cookie, and he brought me an oatmeal chocolate cookie, and he had it wrapped, and I remember him giving me that. I was like, oh, that's really nice of him to do that, or just, like, thoughtful, just such, like, a little thing, but just super thoughtful.
So that was the first date. We were supposed to meet for lunch on a Thursday, and we had spent so much time, like, chatting with each other, you know, whether it be on Match or texting and stuff, and been on the phone. I remember the first time we talked, it was for like 2 or 3 hours on the phone. You know, it felt like kind of a high school, like, haven't done that since high school. And so, just a few things that I remember, you know, her saying what, like, her favorite things were and whatnot. And so I remember remembering that she said she loved oatmeal raisin cookies for some stupid reason. I don't have any idea why, but I stopped before the date to pick one up at Subway. I was like, of all stupid places to pick up a cookie, but it was right on the way, and I was like, oh, should I remember this? And so I figured it would be something thoughtful that I could do that, you know, wouldn't be the normal first date thing. And so I show up, and she, like I said, she was already sitting at the bar, and I knew who she was immediately when she was there. And she got up and introduced herself, and we sat there and went over to, like, a more intimate table, and we sat there for 3 hours talking, from 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock that night. It was a weeknight, so we both had to go to work. It was a Tuesday. We were supposed to meet out on a Thursday for lunch. And yeah, she was just one of the most fun people I've ever met. And it seemed right there, you could tell we were kind of equally yoked, and just from the first few times we were, you know, minutes we were together, it was just awesome. we never stopped. Like, that was the first date, and I don't feel like the first date really ever ended.
Our first date was awesome. We just sat and talked for hours and just had cocktails and just chatted for like hours upon hours about everything. Just getting to know each other. Yeah, he kissed me that night. I didn't expect it at all, but he kissed me, and I remember that. And then I remember the next day he came and brought me a coffee, which I loved. I was like, he heard what I liked when we talked the night before. We talked about whatever. I don't even know how it came up, but my coffee that I liked, and he brought it to me the next morning at work without me knowing. He just popped in. It's like, yeah.
It was the next day. Like, I knew I liked her at the bar, but I went back to work the next day, and I was sitting at my desk, and we had texted a couple times, and she said she needed to do something. I was like, I'll come out and help you do it, and I showed up at her office the next day. And I think that was like that, that moment for me that was very simple, that I didn't need to look any further. I didn't need to go find any new dates. I didn't need to do anything else. I was kind of like, I knew this was somebody that I wanted to get to know way better. So I think it was the second day.
I think I was kind of indecisive because I just didn't really get too attached to anybody. But I think it was when he brought me that coffee, I was like, I really think he's sweet and he's thoughtful.
So it was the day after your first date?
Mm-hmm. I was like, I really like him. He's a good guy. But I do remember him, I remember standing in his kitchen and being like, life is so good.
What do you mean? Like
with him. That was like months in. But it was only maybe like 2 or 3 months in. I was like, this is pretty awesome. Like, our life's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Was very soon after, but we going through all the stuff that I went through before. It was probably like really in love, like wanted to spend my life with her was probably in March. Like I knew I was in love with her. I loved her and stuff before, but we met in December, and I think in March I was like, this is the person that I want to spend my life with. So I think we were in Las Vegas or something, and we just knew. I knew. I think that was the time when I knew that I loved her and wanted to marry her.
I don't remember being like I'm in love. I just think it just all came, and I was like, he's just awesome. I think it's so hard to say. I don't remember. I don't know if I'll be able to answer that one.
When was the first time you said I love you? Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. We were in Boise. We were at your house.
No way.
Uh-huh.
No way.
Yep.
That was the first L word moment?
That was the first L word moment.
Get
at your
back.
house, yes. We're at your house, yep. And I remember it was Christmas. We started dating December 3rd and then or 4th, and then it was right around Christmas. It was like 2 weeks later, and he popped the I love you.
In my house?
Not in the house. I was in the house because he was here, and he texted me, actually, I love you. And I was like, I think you were there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was like, what? Or I might have said it. I don't remember if he said it to me or if he texted it to me, but I remember I was like, you just said I love you. I remember I was just Twitter paid. That's when I got in that car accident.
You got in a car accident?
Yeah, what happened?
In Boise?
No, and here, right in front of Nosworthy's. We were leaving on some trip, of course, and we were going somewhere, and I remember, it was probably Vegas, I can't remember, but I remember we were getting ready to go somewhere, and I was driving, and I was so Twitter-pated. It was just like, I wasn't even really busy in real estate at the time, and my mind was going like all over the place, and I was just so like excited and I knew it. I just knew I was going to get into a car accident or something bad was going to happen because life was so good. I was like, something bad's going to happen, then we got in a car accident. I rented a brand new Honda.
Because you were so Twitter.
Because I was so whacked. I was so,
so in love.
I was so in love. I was like, I just called him. I'm like, I just got in a car accident. But we're leaving tomorrow to Vegas.
It's okay, I gave my insurance card.
Yeah, I was
let's
like,
go. Let's get out of here.
Let's just go. This is okay. Don't worry, just go. Let's just go. And I remember like going, it's gonna be fine. Just like, I was just so Twitter pated at the time. I couldn't think straight, you know. I was just like, yeah, so happy. You know?
I know we were in Las Vegas for something, just hanging out, and it was for a show, and we're sitting in front of the fashion show mall, looking at the Wynn across the Wynn, and we were just, it was like whirlwind, you know? And right there I asked her to marry me, and she was like, are you for real? Like, well, yes, I will, but are you serious, you know? I didn't have a ring or anything like that, and then it was July when I, you know, proposed for reals. But that was the, you know, the first time that I knew that I wanted to be with her forever, you know? Just such a good match, good fit, good, you know, we kind of yin and yang type deal.
And so, that was in March?
It was in March.
And then,
I believe.
Or you officially proposed in July? Tell me about your proposal.
So I had one of my best friends here, him and his wife, and we'd already kind of, you know, Michaela and I had already looked at rings, and she didn't know which one I bought, and she just said, hey, this is what I want. And so that night I was kind of planning a meal to do with just them, and so we had made this great meal, and it was like a really good meal. I just remember everybody just raving over it, and I was like, wow, that's a score, you know. And so we're sitting around the campfire drinking a few beers and kind of, I don't know, hanging out. It was just like good timing, and I don't even think my buddy knew. Like he didn't know. And I walked in the house, and after she said she needed another drink, and so I go to the safe and I grab the ring out and kind of have it behind the beer. So I have it sitting behind the beer, and I hand her the beer, but the ring is in the case. And then I got down on one knee and opened it up and asked her if she would marry me, and it was probably the most exciting time in my life right there. It was just neat to see, I don't know, to be there with my great friends and have the woman who I want to spend the rest of my life with, you know, say yes for reals and no, you know, and it was really fun. Felt like it was a good night because it's kind of like it's our way of doing things, you know. We like to be around the fire, we like to be around friends, we like to, you know, have a good time, and that was like the perfect, you know, ending of the way it should have been. It was a great time.
I think when we started talking, he brought it up, marriage, and I think I knew in my heart at the time that I wanted to marry him, but I didn't ever want to be the pressuring girlfriend to get married. So we started talking about it, and I think that's what started it. So, you know, and then it was like, yeah, I could spend forever with him. You know, we mesh very well with the way we are. Chad called me and said the house was full for like 2 weeks of people, so we had no privacy at all. And then he called me and told me that his best friend Rob and Kate were coming to town, who I had not met. And I'm like, tonight? And he's like, tonight. And I'm like, okay. So they came over, and I'd never met them before. They came over, and Chad had brought home like all sorts of food, like shrimp cocktail, steak, salad, like this amazing setup for them. So I thought. His big setup, and I was like, can I help or do anything? And he's like, no, just sit down and have wine and just hang out and, you know, just relax, basically. And he was taking care of it. So we did a big dinner, sat outside here, and then had drinks with them and just kind of hung out. And then we had a bonfire. And then we were sitting out in the bonfire, and he asked me if I wanted a beer. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll have a beer. And he comes back, and all of a sudden I'm sitting down around the bonfire, and all of a sudden he comes down, and he's down on his knees on a knee next to me with the beer next to me. It was just kind of weird. And then he handed me the beer, and the ring was there behind it. And he's like, will you marry me? And I was like, right now? I remember saying, right now? It was just so weird. And he's like, right now. In front of his friends. And I'm like, yes. And then it was a shocking moment. Like, it just goes by so fast. And then I remember he had to go to the bathroom right afterwards, and he was away for a while. So I'm sitting out by the fire by myself, looking at my ring like, holy cow, this just happened. And of course, taking pictures.
Ring selfies.
Yeah, ring selfies. Yeah.
Her attitude towards life, probably by far the most positive person that I know in my life, period. Just seeing the person who she is and the amazing attitude she has towards almost everything, you know. She might not like doing something, but she's like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to give my whole 100% to do this. She never half-asses anything, and that's what I love about her the most.
Just one thing?
No.
Whatever. I think I love the way that he can, how do I say it? I love that he's social. That's one of my favorite things, is that he can be social without me and carry his own. And that he can, for me, when I'm like in an uproar, he knows how to calm me.
I want whatever comes. I think, you know, I want to grow together as you know, a couple, as a family. I want her to get, you know, the most out of what she wants out of life too. I think, you know, she has aspirations to do great things, and I want to see her succeed. You know, but take me with her.
Oh, future, for us to be healthy, healthy to continue to love each other, and possibly a baby in the future, maybe one, to raise the kids right, and have a healthy, loving relationship.
But this is it. Me and her, one union, forever. I want to grow with her. You know, I think that's what I want to promise. That we'll be together forever.
Always be loyal to him.
I think he knew that both of us had came from pretty hard past relationships, and that we both were looking for people that would understand those things and understand the, you know, the difference between oh man, this is a hard question. The difference between the way we interact with people, and he really did a great job kind of putting us together. We're both kind of understand the way each other works outside of that, because it brought two people that were, you know, business owners and like-minded in that way, and very very motivated to do those things. And so it allowed, I think, both of us the understanding to know that we both have a job to do, but at the end of the day, we are the ones that we love to be bored with. It's the only people in the world that, you know, like, I don't want to be bored with you, but if I'm bored with her, I know that I'm fulfilled. And I think he knew that we needed to be fulfilled in those ways, you know, just, he made it very, very apparent that we both had been hampered by people that didn't understand what was going on. And so I think it gives us the ability to understand how that works and how to move around a situation where I'm busy or she's busy and still come back to understanding that we love each other no matter what. That it's, you know, just because I might not have given you attention or she might not have given me attention one day doesn't mean that I don't love her or don't want to pay attention to her. It's just, I think that understanding is probably the biggest thing that he gave us. You know, we have a pretty good education of what not to do, both of us. And I think understanding that helped as well, you know. So I'm not the best at communication, so it's still a work in progress. But she definitely knows how to communicate.
Huge. I think because I always prayed for a man like him. I'm gonna cry.
What was it that you were praying for?
I think just like a strong man to take care of me that I didn't have to take care of.
Do you want to tell the story about the roses?
Oh. Yeah, I could.
You wanna not cry?
Yeah. I know, like, this is fun. We're weird.
So
yeah, I forgot about that.
No, roses.
This is a pretty cool story.
It's pretty cool.
Well, I gotta do this.
Well,
one.
So I was in a...
Will this be camera worthy later on?
Yeah, actually, it's a pretty cool story. We, I remember I was in this Bible study, and we were all praying, and the gal, she's like super cool Christian lady, she's like, she put her hand out and she's like, I just feel, she's like, I just have a prayer for you. And we're all like, a bunch of us have our heads down, and she's like, I just have a prayer for you. And then all of us look up, and we're all kind of like peeking up, and she's pointing at me, and she's like, I just see you laying in like a bed of roses. And I was like, okay. And I can't remember exactly what she said. Do you remember? She said she saw me in a bed of roses, and that was that what I'm like, basically like what I'm praying for is coming. And I remembered when Chad and I first met that night at Whispers, he had his arm up, and I could see one of his tattoos, and then I was like, let me see the rest of your tattoos, and he pulled his sleeve, and he had this bed of roses on his arm. And it was like, that happened in October, and I met him in December. And I just remember being like, whoa, and I didn't say anything. I was just like, cool. Whoa, you know, like, that's a big deal. And then I remember the next like 2 or 3 nights later, we went to dinner, and I was like, can I just tell you this? And he's like, I'm like, I'll tell you something crazy, you're probably gonna think I'm a whack, because I've only known him for like a week, right? And he's like, okay, tell me. And so I told him, and he's like, that is so cool. And he didn't take it like it was weird, where I thought he would be like, you're nuts, I'm not dating you. You know? Yeah. Like, you lost your mind a little bit. So, yeah.
A little bit. This is brother-in-law, future brother-in-law, Chad. All right, I'll get off your lap. I've had a little bit to drink.
How does it look in there?
Well,
It's not on yet, but
we're framed, but I mean, what we do is we leave the camera off for a little while.
Oh,
and
okay.
we'll kind of go through some of the questions.
Okay,
so that way you know you can have a moment to think about things.
Okay.
Then we'll turn the camera on and
Okay.
we'll go live. So right now we're just hanging out.
Okay.
And so when we start rolling the tape, is there anything that you don't want us to ask you? In case we freestyle.
You can freestyle.
Okay.
No. There's nothing.
Okay. All right, so you ready to do this all over again?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well,
It's supposed to be fun, right? Not crying.
you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
And so we were rolling the whole time. Son of a bitch.
You were? You were? You were? You guys are suckers. You got me.
What was it like to have sex with him for the first time?
Are you really gonna ask me that?
Oh,
I'm like, are you really gonna ask me that